It's the most powerful show on television. High drama with intense energy. A show dedicated to a few brave souls who risk their lives for the sake of their craft. Its in-depth reporting goes to the core and unlocks the mysteries behind today's raciest sport. Motorsports. Catch it when you can.
The Speed Station welcomes you to Kansas Speedway for the running of the Bushy McBush Race 400. In the race analysis, today's event will take place over the course of 134 laps around the mile and a half here in Kansas City, with stage number 1 ending on lap 30 and stage 2 ending on lap 60. Remember that if we do not get a caution flag in the final stage, you will certainly have to make at least one green flag pit stop to get to the checkered flag on fuel. In the regular season point standings, entering today's event here at Kansas, Kevin Harvick sets atop the point standings by 23 points above Denny Hamlin after Hamlin finished dead last week in Indianapolis, and Kevin Harvick took home a 6th place finish. Joey Logano is 3rd in the point standings, 25 points out of the lead. Matt DiBenedetto is 4th in the regular season points, 37 points out of the lead. Chase Elliott is in 5th, 45 points out. Suarez in 6th, 50 points out. Alex Bowman, the best of the rest from last season, is 7th in the point standings, 56 points out of the lead. Then Martin Truex Jr. is 8th in the points, 61 points out of that top spot. Then Brandon Jones is 9th in the standings, 64 points out. And Kyle Larson, after falling 4 spots in the standings after last week's race out at the Brickyard, drops down to 10th, 67 points out of the point lead. Then in your playoff standings, Kevin Harvick, Brandon Jones, Chase Briscoe, Denny Hamlin, Matt DiBenedetto, Chase Elliott, Daniel Suarez, Martin Truex Jr., Kyle Larson, Kyle Busch, and Jan Magnussen are all locked into the playoffs via their wins. We currently have 3 drivers, however, with wins so far this season who sat outside the top 30 in the standings, those being Josh Bilicki, Harrison Burton, and Anthony Alfredo. So if they make it into the top 30, it will obviously massively shuffle up the order of the top 16 because they will be automatically locked into the playoffs as well. So there's a large battle for the top 30 position, with Jan Magnussen only in 28th spot in the standings right now. So they're all kind of contending for that same real estate. Joey Logano is currently the best of the rest, 59 points above the cutoff line. Alex Bowman is 28 points above. Then Brad Keselowski and Eric Jones are both only 9 points above the cutoff line. And then Tyler Reddick in 16th position currently in the playoff standings is just 7 points above that cut line. Kurt Busch, who almost won the championship last season, is 7 points out. His teammate Justin Allgaier is 18 points out, the 2019 Series champion. Clint Bowyer is 25 points out coming into his home race here at Kansas. And then Quinn Houff currently sets 28 points out of making the playoffs. NASCAR invited Richard Childress Racing and its satellite team Richard Petty Motorsports to the Kansas Speedway to conduct multi-car next-generation testing. The package that was used for this test was very similar to what we saw in NASCAR's All-Star race out at the Las Vegas Motor Speedway. No tapered spacer and a 4-inch rear spoiler. So what that meant was we had quite a bit of off-throttle time. As you can tell right here at this period of the test, the number 3 car of Austin Dillon had kind of gotten away in front of the 43 car of Myatt Snyder back in petty blue colors. We also had Reddick in the test and Kaz Grell in the 50, all of RCR and RPM. What the drivers most noted, obviously, is with the increased horsepower, there's an awful lot of off-throttle time. Not quite so much as what our current cars would have with this type of aero package. That's due to the fact that these cars have wider tires than the Gen 6 car. That's due to all the changes that Goodyear and NASCAR have made for this next generation car in preparation for the next season when we run this thing full time. But wider tire, independent rear suspension. It's a little bit easier to get the power to the ground and run these corners at much higher rates of speeds as our current Cup cars would with the same exact aero package. Right here you can see Myatt Snyder running down the 3 car of Austin Dillon, and that's another big difference from the current aero package and the way that our cars are built. These things barely have any side force by the fact that both sides of the car are symmetrical. Both the left and right sides are built identically. They don't flare out the right side like what you see with our current Cup cars to get side force, which is essentially downforce on the side of the car, so they can lean into the corner a little bit more. All that side force produces dirty air, which makes it very difficult to try and close the gap up to another car and make a pass. But with these cars being symmetrical and with a little bit less downforce, it's a lot easier to make moves. As you see down the back straightaway here at Kansas, the 43 car of Myatt Snyder closed right up to the back bumper. The 3 car of Austin Dillon got to the inside, but Dillon was holding just a little bit better momentum. With our current cars, moves like this might not be as easily possible. So the feedback from all 4 competitors was rather positive. Obviously, we're not going to know exactly what this car has to offer until we get a full field out on track at once to test, which will start to occur during the off-season. But until then, these tests are giving NASCAR and everyone involved, including the teams and drivers, great information on what next season in NASCAR's Cup Series may look like. Hello everyone, welcome back to the NASCAR Cup Series ride-along segment. Once again, we are back in the test car here at Kansas, prepping for the Bushy McBush Race 400. Not quite as tough of a pit road exit here at Kansas as compared to Indianapolis. You don't have to worry about the grass up on your outside, but you do have to make sure you stay below that yellow line, otherwise you'll be brought down pit road for not exiting the pits safely. Up onto the back straightaway. 8-inch spoiler here in NASCAR's Cup Series for this season. 550 package on the 1.5 miles, so definitely a different aerodynamic package and horsepower package in comparison to what was ran the next-gen car during the test. There's green flag for a mock run. More or less full throttle here on fresh tires, drift out right towards the wall. And this place was repaved back in 2012, but over the years it has started to age. And now it is very much a multi-groove style racetrack. You can run pretty much from the apron all the way up to the wall. We'll be seeing an awful lot of that here today. I like to keep it full throttle on fresh tires right around the middle. Seems like you can keep your momentum up very well in this line. Back down to the start-finish line. A rather smooth surface here still at Kansas after 9 years of age. There's a lap around Kansas Speedway in a NASCAR Cup Series car. Multi-groove racing, got a lot of options. And believe me, you will not be full throttle once we get about 30 laps into a run. Once the tires start to degrade, you're going to be lifting. You're going to be seeing a whole lot more passing as well along with it, because we're going to stop seeing the draft-style pack racing. The field's going to start to spread out just a little bit more, and they're going to be passing more based on how well you can keep your tires together, because we got a hot day here in Kansas. Middle of the summer, track's going to be pretty slick, well into a run. A lot of passing here today. Should be a fun one in the Bushy McBush Race 400. Austin Dillon busted off an incredibly fast lap time here at Kansas Speedway in qualifying with a 29.919, scoring the pole in the number 3 car for Richard Childress Racing. Above the number 21 of Austin Cindric in second, then William Byron third, Myatt Snyder in fourth, and Chris Buescher in fifth. Quite a few young guns in that top 5. Then Ryan Newman qualifies the 6 car for Roush Fenway Racing in 6th position. As you can tell, both Roush cars in the top 10. Maybe it's a sign of things to come for that organization. Tyler Ankrum in the 26 car qualifies in 7th. Kevin Harvick in 8th position. Eric Jones in 9th. And Kyle Busch rounding out your top 10. Also keep your eyes on the 69 car of Greg Biffle, back in action this weekend for Gaunt Brothers, qualifying in 26th position. And so now let's get down trackside for the command.
Gentlemen, start your engines!
Nice and easy, long day. It's going to be a lot of adjustments. It's going to be a lot of fun, guys. This is a real race here. We're going to have a blast tonight. I can't wait to get out there and get going.
And for just one more pre-race note, both the number 1 and 40 cars out of Chip Ganassi Racing of Kurt Busch and Quinn Houff did not make the field in qualifying. So that is absolutely going to shake up the playoff battle as we near the regular season championship at Daytona. Pace car hits pit road. Austin Dillon leads the field onto the front straightaway for the green flag here at Kansas Speedway. And there it is. We are now underway for the Bushy McBush Race 400. As here comes the 24 and 17 cars already right up to the number 3 car of Austin Dillon. Chris Buescher going 3 wide down to turn number 1. Side by side with the 3 car of Austin Dillon. Dillon gets forced up the racetrack just a little bit by the 17. Ankrum making moves down on the inside as well. Ankrum getting the push from the 2 car of DiBenedetto, now up to the back bumper of the 17 as Chris Buescher takes the race lead away. The 3 car of Austin Dillon quickly dropping back up on the outside. Chris Buescher leads lap number 1 here at Kansas Speedway, with the 26 car of Ankrum racing his way up into second, 4 wide entering turn number 1. That's Josh Bilicki down on the inside in the 71, trying to make his presence known as he currently sets outside the top 30 in the regular season point standings, with currently his win in the Daytona 500 not locking him into the playoffs. The 17 car of Buescher leads the 26 of Ankrum by about 1/10 of a second, with the 2 car of DiBenedetto quickly closing in. And already the yellow flag is waving here at Kansas Speedway, with the 17 cars still out front. We will be racing back to the start-finish line. The 26 car of Ankrum right in tow of the 17, trying to get a run down into turn number 3. Trying to close the gap just a little bit, can't quite do it, as Chris Buescher leads the field back to the caution flag above the 26 of Ankrum, 2 of DiBenedetto, 24 of William Byron, and 57 of Kyle Larson. Also, the 71 car of Josh Bilicki got shuffled out just a little bit down into 10th position, with the 33 car of Magnussen actually surpassing him. So that's the battle for the top 30 position right there between those two. And so here's how the caution flag came out. Literally racing for last position, the 38 car of Alfredo pushes up into the 7 of Corey LaJoie, sending LaJoie around on the front straightaway. LaJoie almost catches it without getting up into the wall, but slaps the right side of his car, getting pretty significant damage on the number 7 car for Spire Motorsports, bringing out our first caution flag of the day. And already on just lap number 4 of the race here at Kansas, we have some pit strategy going on, with the 26, 57, and 6 cars staying out, assuming first through third, with the 17 of Buescher, 2 of DiBenedetto, 24 of Byron, and several others coming down pit road, essentially splitting the field in half of those who stayed out and those who came down. So already some interesting tire strategy going on, as we will have the stage number 1 caution on lap 30, which means that everyone will likely be on the same strategy after stage number 1. But this, I guess you could say, is a bit of a test to see if 5 laps on your tires makes a significant difference, because currently the 26 back to the 18 are on the same exact tires that they started on, with the cars farther back, with the first one off being Chris Buescher, all on fresh rubber. We'll see just how fast they can try and cut their way through the field on just 5-lap fresher tires. And how about this? The number 47 car is being driven by Ricky Stenhouse Jr. this weekend at Kansas Speedway. As you recall, out at the Bristol Motor Speedway dirt track, he suffered a horrific tumble down the back straightaway, which gave him concussion-like symptoms. He had to sit out of the races out at Pocono. His car was driven by A.J. Allmendinger. He was back in the car at Indianapolis Motor Speedway, but did not make the show in qualifying. But here at Kansas, he has made the show in the 47 car, and currently resides in 31st position, looking to better his position on this restart. The number 53 car of Chase Briscoe is still on pit road. They have yet to get that car refired. He is obviously locked into the playoffs with his 2 wins this season, which he scored at Auto Club and the Bristol Motor Speedway dirt track, but currently some trouble on the number 53 team. It looks like they will drop at least 1 lap down as the pace car and race leader on the front stretch. They now have the 53 car of Chase Briscoe refired. He will be remerging with the field at the tail end of the line, 1 lap down in last position. Pace car hits pit road. The number 26 car of Tyler Ankrum, after staying out, now leads the field down to the restart zone on lap number 7 here at Kansas. And there's the green flag, a huge jump on the restart above the number 57 car of Larson. Looked like Larson was almost sleeping at the wheel, as now the 6 car of Newman jumps down to the inside, allowing the 71 car of Josh Bilicki to get to the bottom as well. Here comes the 37 of Eric Jones going 3 wide on the exit of 2. Remember that the first car on fresh tires is currently the 17 of Chris Buescher. We'll be seeing how long it takes him to get up towards the front, as here comes the 6 of Ryan Newman down on the inside, now side drafting the 26 car of Ankrum for the top spot, as the 37 of Eric Jones takes up third. The field now fanning out down into turn number 1. Austin Dillon going 4 wide down on the inside of both his teammate and the 71 and 57 cars. 3 car of Austin Dillon quickly making up a whole lot of track position as he has already taken up the 4th position. 18 car of Kyle Busch now up into 5th as we have a wreck on the front straightaway. 34 car of Michael McDowell up into the outside wall. Sliding down in front of the field, gets T-boned by the 42 of Justin Allgaier. The caution flag is back out. Racing back to the caution flag, the 6 car of Ryan Newman is still out front. Currently above the 37 car of Jones, who tries to use up some of the outside, gets up into the outside wall as well. But Ryan Newman is your race leader here at Kansas Speedway. Above the 37 of Eric Jones, the 3 of Austin Dillon, who raced his way around Tyler Ankrum. Then the 24 of William Byron and Ankrum in 5th position. Kyle Busch actually raced his way all the way up to 6th spot in a close battle right there with the 50 of Kaz Gralla. There you see, coming off of turn number 4, the 11 car of Hamlin moves up the racetrack trying to side draft the 22, but actually gets loose on the exit of the corner, slides up into the 22 of Logano, turning Logano down into the 34 of Michael McDowell. Then the 11 car just finishes off the 34 of McDowell. Chastain just barely misses it. McDowell gets hard up into the outside wall. A little bit of right side contact with the 00 car of Suarez as well. Looked like McDowell almost got away with it. But here comes the 42 car, has absolutely nowhere to go, and Allgaier just almost plows completely through the front end of the 34 car of Michael McDowell, likely knocking both of them out of the race. Now this is very interesting. Now that we get another caution on lap number 10, it looks like every single lead lap car is coming down pit road, so that nullifies any advantage that the cars that had pitted on the first caution had above the cars that stayed out, because now everyone's going to be on the same cycle. And so, folks, we had about 10 cars take just fuel only, which is why William Byron gets off pit road in first above Chris Buescher, then Clint Bowyer, Denny Hamlin, and Matt DiBenedetto now as your top 5. Cars farther back took 2 tires, and the ones who get off right at the tail end have taken 4. So already, after only about, 7 laps under green, we've had 2 full rounds of pit stops. They're definitely going to change the complexion of this race. It's official. The number 34 and 42 cars of McDowell and Allgaier are now out of the race and will finish last and second to last. The 53 car of Chase Briscoe is trying to get 1 lap back on this restart. He did not come down pit road, which is why he is restarting in front of race leader William Byron. Pace car pulls onto pit road. William Byron leads the field in a single file into the restart zone on lap number 14 here at Kansas. There's the green flag. Byron has the lap car of Chase Briscoe right up in front of him to deal with. As here comes the 17 car of Chris Buescher closing the gap right up to the back bumper entering turn 1, but Bowyer pulls a crossover on the number 17. Clint Bowyer going for second position, now side drafts the 24 down the backstretch. Side by side for the top spot as Bowyer's going to have some help from Hamlin. Byron backs out as Clint Bowyer takes away the race lead in his home state of Kansas. I'm sure the crowd's happy about that as Bowyer leads the lap and puts the 53 car of Briscoe down a lap once again. Hamlin taking up second, Christopher Bell into third position. Tyler Ankrum up into 4th spot once again. Eric Jones into 5th. As the field still gets around the 53 car of Briscoe, he's rather competitive. Unlike Brett Moffitt during the Camping World Truck Series race once his truck was damaged, we have now a 3-car battle for second. Ankrum down on the inside, Bell in the middle, and Hamlin up on the top as we are now halfway through stage number 1 here at Kansas. 26 car of Ankrum trying a low entry into turn 1 as Bell takes up second position. Hattori Racing Enterprises has a phenomenal 1.5 mile program in the Camping World Truck Series. They're trying to bring some of their expertise from that division up to the Cup level and find some 1.5 mile success with this 61 car. But here comes Hamlin back down to the inside. There was some contact farther back between the lead lap car of Byron and the lap down car of Chase Briscoe. As now entering turn 1, Hamlin back up into second, but Ankrum now going for the spot. Side by side down the back straightaway as Ankrum now takes up second position. Kaz Gralla into 4th in the 50 car for Richard Childress Racing. Now trying to take advantage of the slowing 11 car of Hamlin. Looks like Gralla's going to move up into 3rd position. 89 car of Landon Castle actually starting to carve his way through the field rather well right now. Up into 11th position. Now to the inside, the Coke 600 winner taking up 10th. We have a side-by-side battle for second. Kaz Gralla takes away the spot. And the lap car of Briscoe has started to work his way back through the field. Now gets down to the inside of the 26 car, trying to run down the 14 car of Boyer to get back onto the lead lap. As Kevin Harvick also trying to run down the 3 car of Austin Dillon right now. This is the battle for round 7th position. As the 53 car of Briscoe gets to the inside of the 26, that is not for position, but Briscoe is trying to get back onto the lead lap as the 50 of Kaz Gralla has ran down the 14 of Clint Boyer down the backstretch. Now looks down to the inside, trying to go side by side. Boyer moves up the racetrack, and Kaz Gralla takes away the race lead here at Kansas with now just 10 laps to go in stage number 1. 53 car of Briscoe closing the gap. As Eric Jones now up into 3rd position, trying to close the door on the 3 car of Dillon. He does that and now gets around the 14 of Boyer, with Eric Jones now taking up 2nd for JTG Doherty Racing. 48 car of Alex Bowman has also raced his way up into 6th position right now in the 48 for Hendrick Motorsports, as Dillon gets to the inside of Boyer, taking up 3rd position. 2 RCR cars in the top 3 right now. Down to turn number 1. Eric Jones gets around the 53 car of Briscoe, as well as the 3 of Austin Dillon. 4th place runner of Hamlin follows in line behind the 3 car, as well as Matt DiBenedetto gets to the inside, the 14 of Boyer, taking up the 6th position in the 2 for Team Penske. Here comes an almost 4-wide move entering turn number 1 by the 57 car of Larson. Tried to force it in there, but Kyle Busch gets the advantage on the exit of turn number 2. That was the battle for 11th position. Here comes Boyer down to the inside of both DiBenedetto and Austin Dillon. That's going to move Boyer up into 5th spot. Kaz Gralla is still out front in the 50 car for Richard Childress Racing, as we have a 4-car breakaway in front of the pack. The 14 car of Boyer trying to close the gap right now as they exit turn number 2. Currently, the 37 of Eric Jones is starting to close the gap right up to the 50 car of Kaz Gralla. Now looks down to the inside, but has to back off just a little bit as the 50 car takes his line away through 3 and 4. Now just 6 laps to go in stage number 1. The 37 looking for a way around. Hamlin right now being hounded by that 48 car of Alex Bowman, as now they almost tandem down the back straightaway, building a run on the 37 of Eric Jones. Here comes a move by Bowman down to the inside, but Hamlin tried to get to the inside of the 37. That all stalled out the line, with the 50 of Kaz Gralla still out front and doing a great job at managing the runs. The field running mostly single file right now. That's not going to be for too long, as in just 5 laps we're going to get the stage number 1 caution and bunch them all right back up. Here comes the 37 and the 11, trying to look down to the inside of the 50, as Gralla closes the door on the 37, with Hamlin now taking up 2nd. A great run for Denny Hamlin at the moment, as we have a car right up in front of the leaders. It is the 7 of Corey LaJoie, who, as you recall, brought out the first caution by spinning up into the outside wall. 48 car of Bowman to the inside of the 11, taking up 2nd position, as the 11 car of Hamlin has to back off on the exit of turn number 2. There's the lap car right up in front of Gralla. He gets around him very cleanly. So Gralla still out front by a couple car lengths above the 48 of Bowman. And then the 14 of Boyer up into 3rd position. Kyle Busch almost out of nowhere into 4th spot in his very own Rowdy Energy Toyota. Here comes Bowman to the inside, the 50 of Gralla. New leader here at Kansas, Alex Bowman takes the top spot away as the 50 drops back. 14 of Boyer up into 2nd position. 18 of Kyle Busch trying to look down to the inside of the 50. And it looks like he's going to take up the 3rd spot, with now a 2-man battle in the final 2 laps of stage number 1. It's between Bowman and local hero Clint Boyer. Here comes Kyle Busch to the inside, the 53 car of Briscoe. That's not for position, but he's trying to set up a run on the 14 of Boyer down the back straightaway. Right now, the 48 car of Bowman has actually put a pretty substantial gap on the 14 car of Boyer. enough to where Boyer could not draft his way up to the back bumper of the 48, as there is 1 lap to go in stage number 1 here at Kansas. Boyer is just about 0.2 of a second back from the 48 car, but he's starting to push on the exit of the corners with the 18 car of Kyle Busch closing the gap. Now down to turn number 3. Here comes the 14 trying to get to the inside of the 48. Closes right up to the back bumper. Now side drafts him on the exit of the corner. Here they come down to the stripe, but it is going to be Bowman to win stage number 1 here at Kansas. Alex Bowman takes away the stage number 1 victory in a close race to the stripe above the 14 car of Clint Boyer. Then the 18 of Kyle Busch took home 3rd, the 26 of Ankrum in 4th, and the 11 of Denny Hamlin in 5th position. And so now, after just a quick commercial break, we'll be back right here at Kansas Speedway for the beginning of stage number 2. NASCAR on Speed Station is being brought to you by RFJ, the official home of the RFJ AI series, by Knife Friend 725, the brains behind Project Retroval, and by Anthony's Online Simulation League. Welcome back to Kansas Speedway. Right now, the entire lead lap field hits pit road. And we have some big changes coming off of pit road. The 26 car of Tyler Ankrum takes away the top spot with a great pit stop, but actually got in trouble coming off of pit road. Got a little bit of right side damage in a run-in, with the second place runner out of the pits being Matt DiBenedetto, who was last week's winner. Then Kaz Gralla in the 50, the 14 of Boyer, then the 57 of Larson, and then the 48 car of Alex Bowman. So Bowman lost quite a bit of track position in the pits, even came out behind the lap car of Chase Briscoe. So here's what happened to the new race leader of Ankrum. Trying to gas it off of pit road, the 21 car of Cindric is trying to come into his pit stall, and they collide, giving the 26 car of Ankrum quite a bit of right side damage. But he has opted to stay out and will still hold the race lead on the restart. And look at this, the 43 car of Myatt Snyder has blown his engine under caution. Richard Petty Motorsports' lone entry is now out of the race here at Kansas. The pace car hits pit road. Ankrum is back out front and leads the field in a single file down into the Geico restart zone on lap 34. And there is the green flag for stage number 2. The 2 car of Matt DiBenedetto gets a pretty good jump on the 26 as the field fans out farther back. DiBenedetto jumps up to the outside to try and get around the 26 car, but that lets Gralla to the inside. Kaz Gralla up to second, now side by side for the top spot down the back straightaway. Kaz Gralla in the 50 car for Richard Childress Racing takes away the top spot entering turn number 3, with now the 14 car of Boyer up into second position. The 53 of Briscoe taking up what would be third if he was still on the lead lap. Here comes the 14 of Boyer to the inside of 50, going for the race lead as the 37 goes 4 wide farther back. Clint Boyer is back out front in his home state of Kansas. The 37 of Eric Jones made up a full 3 positions going 4 wide into turn number 1 as the 48 of Bowman has taken up second. 53 cars starting to drop back as the 55 of Ross Chastain has now made his way up into the top 5 for the first time today. 37 car of Eric Jones currently running in 5th position. Ryan Newman starting to carve his way back through the field as the 26 quickly drops back up on the outside. You got to imagine that right side damage that he suffered on pit road is not helping him right now, as these cars are very dependent on the side force that they generate, especially with that right side. Obviously, that's going to be nullified next season with the next-gen car, as the 48 car of Alex Bowman is closed right up to the back bumper of the 14 of Clint Boyer, entering turn number 1. He backs off just a little bit, trying to set up the corner entry down into turn 3. Here comes the 50 of Kaz Gralla to the inside of 48 of Alex Bowman. And Gralla's going to take up second. Once again, the 50 car for Richard Childress Racing. The 11 of Hamlin had to back off quite a bit right there on the exit of turn number 4 as the 55 of Chastain took his line away. Here comes Eric Jones on the bottom in the 37, taking up second position for JTG Doherty Racing. 14 car of Boyer, though, still out front as the 50 and 37 battle for second. That has allowed the 14 of Boyer to gap the field by almost half a second. As here comes the 48 of Bowman back down to the inside, the 37 going for second. Down to turn number 1. Alex Bowman takes up second position with Ryan Newman taking up third. 55 car of Ross Chastain is back up into fourth position as the 57 of Kyle Larson trying to break his way up into the top 5. He won the most recent mile-and-a-half race out at Charlotte in the Coca-Cola 600. As here comes Ryan Newman down on the inside, the 48 car of Bowman. Side-by-side battle for second right now. Entering turn number 1, Newman has the advantage and takes up second position. Also, a winner at a mile-and-a-half earlier this year, Brandon Jones. He won at Las Vegas Motor Speedway. He currently resides all the way down in 31st position in the 20 car for Joe Gibbs Racing. Not a very good run going so far for that team, but his teammate Kyle Busch in the 18 car has just made his way up into 5th position. Here comes the 4 of Kevin Harvick as well. The Bushy McBush car taking up the 5th position. Down on the inside, here comes the 55 of Ross Chastain taking up second, getting around the 6 of Ryan Newman. 57 car of Larson will follow suit, taking up third spot as Harvick gets to the inside of Kyle Busch. Kevin Harvick getting into 4th position, now cutting down to the bottom of the 57, using up some of the apron down the front straightaway. Trying to take a very shallow entry down to turn number 1, has to back up his entry just a little bit. Now battling for third with William Byron, who really sailed it off into turn number 1 in the middle. But that has allowed Ross Chastain to really get away with second position. Here comes Hamlin down on the inside. Hamlin sends it down into turn number 3 as Newman makes contact with the 18 car of Kyle Busch. But Hamlin now up into third spot as Ross Chastain has closed the gap right up to the 14 car of Boyer. Eric Jones has now taken up the 4th position in the 37. With Kyle Larson back into 5th spot. 88 car of Brad Keselowski has started to carve his way through the field. Now getting up into the top 10. And the 21 of Cindric is still running fairly well, but contact between the 4 of Harvick and the 21 of Cindric. Ryan Newman gets up on 2 wheels down the front straightaway as the caution flag comes out once again. Harvick with pretty significant right side damage on the 4 car. Still in the race, however. The field now races back to the caution flag. The 14 car of Boyer still out front. In front of the 55 of Chastain, then the 11 of Hamlin. 57 car farther back as Clint Boyer is your leader at the start-finish line. We also had a battle side-by-side down to the stripe between the 37 and 18 cars of Jones and Busch, with Eric Jones holding the 5th spot. Well, we knew something had to give farther back because they were racing incredibly dicey, with the 24 car of Byron pushing up into the 4 of Harvick just a little bit, getting the 4 car loose on the exit of turn 4, down into the 21 of Cindric, hard up into the outside wall for both competitors. Then they collect the 6 car of Newman, who gets down into the 48 of Bowman, with Newman almost going upside down, only running on his right side. Tires right there sliding down in front of the flag stand. The 4 car of Kevin Harvick with pretty significant damage out of this. The 21 car of Cindric kept it going, but quite a bit of right side damage on that Wood Brothers racing machine. Ryan Newman with a lot of left side damage might be able to continue. Not so sure about the 48 car of Bowman after suffering such an amount of front end damage. Getting into the 6 car of Newman might have punctured the radiator on the 48 car of Bowman. Quite a few competitive cars damaged in this one, but an especially big hit to the point leader coming into today's race, the number 4 car of Kevin Harvick. But at least he is still in the race. But his main competition, Denny Hamlin, who comes into the race second in the point standings, currently sets third in the running order. And so, once again, we have a bit of a split in the pit strategy, with the 14 car of Boyer staying out in front of the 11, 57, and several others. But Ross Chastain will be coming down pit road along with the 2 of DiBenedetto, 26, 33, and 8 cars, which are all coming down pit road just for strategy purposes and not to repair any sort of crash damage. Believe it or not, we had 2 cars drop out of the race under this caution, with the number 9 car of Chase Elliott dropping out of the race due to a clutch problem, and the 10 car of Eric Almirola blowing an engine. You have to keep in mind, it's a very hot day here in Kansas. It's around 89 degrees currently. The sun is out, middle of summer, These engines are running at very high temperatures. That's definitely pushing things to the limit right now, as we have had 2 different engine failures from both Eric Almirola and Myatt Snider. Believe it or not, the number 48 car of Alex Bowman is still in the race after suffering that front-end damage. In fact, the front end of the 48 car still looks pretty good, but he did drop 1 lap down, getting some of that damage repaired. You know, we've not talked very much about this 69 car over the course of the first 49 laps here at Kansas, but Greg Biffle's actually raced his way up to 15th position. Pace car hits pit road. Clint Boyer leads the field onto the front straightaway in a single file and down into the restart zone with now just 11 laps to go here in stage number 2. There's the green flag with the 11 car of Hamlin jumping up to the outside of the 14. But that allows the 57 car of Larson to set him up down on the inside, down to turn number 1. Kyle Larson now takes up 2nd position in his own number 57 car, coming off of turn number 2, now side by side with the 14 of Boyer. Entering turn number 3, got a little bit of help coming from the 18 car of Kyle Busch, as Kyle Larson takes away the top spot on the exit of turn number 4. Some contact right there between the 3 of Dillon and the 24 car of William Byron, as Kyle Busch has now taken up 2nd position. Ryan Blaney trying to send it in 3 wide down on the bottom. Blaney now up into 5th position, as here comes Kyle Busch looking to the inside, the 57 down the backstretch. Entering turn number 3, the 57 car has to back off just a little bit more on the entry, and Kyle Busch is now your race leader here at Kansas Speedway. We have a 3-wide battle now for 2nd as Clint Boyer really forces the issue down to turn number 1 to the inside of Hamlin and Larson, back up into 2nd. Trying to take home his first Cup Series victory at his home track in his final full-time season. Here comes Chris Buescher trying to go 3 wide on the inside of Blaney and Hamlin. And Blaney shuts the door on him just a little bit, but Buescher forces the issue on the exit of turn 4. Right now, Ryan Blaney holds the 3rd position, but it looks like Chris Buescher is going to take the spot away into turn 1. How about this 89 team of Landon Castle? They currently reside in 6th position. After winning a stage earlier this season in the Coke 600, now they take up 4th on the exit of turn number 2, getting around Blaney. The 14 of Boyer now looks to the inside, the 18 car of Kyle Busch. Boyer comes into this race on the outside, looking in the playoffs. Now takes away the race lead on the exit of turn number 4. Here comes the 17 of Buescher, side drafts the 18 car. Now gets down to the inside, and Chris Buescher takes up 2nd position for Roush Fenway Racing. A great run going on so far for that organization, with the exception of the trouble that Newman got into just a couple laps ago. Chris Buescher trying to close the gap right up to the 14 car of Boyer, as here comes the 89 of Landon Castle trying to get to the inside of Kyle Busch. Can't quite do it, as Busch takes his line away through 3 and 4. Here comes the 17 of Chris Buescher down on the inside of the 14 of Boyer. Boyer has to back off on the exit of turn 2 as Buescher takes up the top spot with Kyle Busch moving up into 2nd. And how about Cole Custer? Currently resides in 7th position after finishing in 5th last week at Indianapolis. Maybe this organization has finally gotten the ship righted. The 3 car of Austin Dillon has now just taken up 3rd position for RCR, as the 55 of Ross Chastain gets around the 12 of Ryan Blaney, moving into 5th position. Now with less than 5 laps to go, here in stage number 2, the 3 of Austin Dillon goes to the inside, the 18 car of Kyle Busch. And Dillon takes away 2nd position. Grant Enfinger won the Camping World Truck Series race here at Kansas from the pole, and Austin Dillon trying to pull off the same hat trick. Right up in front of race leader Chris Buescher is the lap car of Alex Bowman. The car might look good, but it's definitely not running very well right now, as the 3 of Austin Dillon has closed the gap right up to the 17 car of Chris Buescher. 3-man race right now for the top spot, as here comes Dillon trying to look down to the inside, hoping to use the 48 car as a pick, and he does so, forcing them to split the number 48 car of Bowman, but the 17 car of Buescher gets away with the race lead. Buescher used the momentum from the outside to clear the 48 car, and that caused the 3 car of Austin Dillon to have to lift a little bit on the exit of turn 2, as Boyer now takes up the 3rd position, currently trying to run down The 3 of Dillon for second. Now gets down to the inside with just 2 laps to go in stage number 2. Clinton Boyer up into second position, trying to run down the 17 car with just a lap and a half left of this stage. And the caution flag is back out. This will bring the end of stage number 2. The 17 car of Buescher is going to win it. Buescher wins stage 2 here at Kansas Speedway above the 14 car of Boyer, second once again in a stage. Then the 3 of Austin Dillon in third position, 11 of Hamlin in fourth, and 18 car of Kyle Busch in fifth. Coming off of turn number 4, the 33 car of Jan Magnussen pushes just a little bit, makes contact with the 69 car of Greg Biffle, turning him on the exit of turn number 4, right up in front of the field in a similar fashion of Cameron Haley during the Camping World Truck Series race. Then Ricky Stenhouse Jr. makes contact with him. The 95 of Harrison Burton gets into him, almost turning the 69 car over, gets on top of the safer barrier, but comes to rest on all 4 tires, with the 95, 69, and 47 cars all being knocked out of the race in this accident. Here's just another shot of the contact between the 95 and 69, getting the 69 car up onto 2 tires. He would have completely went over had the wall not been there, as the 69 car comes to rest on top of the safer barrier right there, grinds on top of the safer barrier down the front straightaway, only on his front tires right there, and comes to rest on all 4s. Still another tough break for the number 95 team of Harrison Burton. They come into this race outside the top 30, even with their win, and this DNF is absolutely not going to help them in their quest of making the playoffs. And so now, after just a quick commercial break, we'll be back right here at the Kansas Speedway for the beginning of the final stage. NASCAR on Speed Station is being brought to you by RFJ, the official home of the RFJ AI series. By Knife Friend 725, the brains behind Project Retroval. And by Anthony's Online Simulation League. Welcome back to the Kansas Speedway. Most of the lead lap cars have opted to stay out, with the exception of the 88 car of Brad Keselowski. Then farther back, we have the 57 of Kyle Larson. Then the 12 of Ryan Blaney, 96 of Drew Herring, 22 of Logano, and 20 of Brandon Jones, all coming down pit road as part of a larger strategy. For just an update on the teams involved in that stage number 2 ending crash, the 69, 47, and 95 cars are all out of the race, but fortunately no injuries from that accident. Pace car hits pit road. Chris Buescher leads the field in a single file into the restart zone for the start of the final stage here at Kansas. And there's the green flag. Buescher and Boyer get a fairly even restart, with the 3 car of Austin Dillon getting a run on the 14 car of Boyer down into turn number 1. Here he goes, looking to the inside of Boyer on the exit of turn number 2. Down the back straightaway, Austin Dillon is going to take up second position in the 3 car for Richard Childress Racing, with the 17 of Buescher gapping the field right now. 18 car of Kyle Busch moves up into third spot, with Boyer dropping down into fourth. Boyer has his teammate Cole Custer now looking down to the inside as Austin Dillon goes side by side with Chris Buescher for the race lead. Dillon takes away the top spot down the back straightaway as Kyle Busch now takes up second. Ross Chastain into fourth position, and William Byron into fifth. Now Clinton Boyer dropping already down to around 8th position. Did not get the restart that he wanted, as now Ross Chastain goes side by side with Chris Buescher down into turn number 1. Chastain takes up third, with Byron into fourth. We have now Tyler Reddick in the 8 car for Richard Childress Racing getting around the 17 as well. 2 Richard Childress Racing cars in the top 5. Here comes Chastain trying to look down to the inside. The 18 car of Kyle Busch could not quite make the move. Here's a 3-wide move being made farther back by Kaz Gralla underneath both stage number 2 winner Chris Buescher and the lap car of Chase Briscoe. Farther out front, we have Ross Chastain taking up second off the 18 car of Kyle Busch. Chastain now has his sights set on the 3 car of Austin Dillon entering turn number 1. They're now going side by side into the first turn as Chastain forces Dillon wide. Ross Chastain is your new race leader here at Kansas, with the 24 car of William Byron taking up second position down the backstretch. 8 car of Reddick down on the inside, now battling his teammate Austin Dillon. And at the start-finish line, the 8 car of Reddick is going to hold the third position with the 24 now to the inside of 55. William Byron takes away the top spot through turns 1 and 2. Byron still searching for his first career NASCAR Cup Series victory in a contract season with Hendrick Motorsports as Reddick takes up second. 26 car of Ankrum also on the inside of the 55. It looks like Ankrum is going to take up third position. Right now, Chevrolet holds the entire top 5 positions, with the highest running Ford being Clinton Boyer, now taking up 5th spot, getting around the 55 car of Ross Chastain. We also have another Ford carving his way through the field. It's the 2 of Matt DiBenedetto. Try and get around the lap car of Chase Briscoe right now. We are now more than halfway through the race here at Kansas as Clinton Boyer sends it 3 wide down into turn number 1, getting around 2 Childress cars, taking up third position as Kyle Busch also forced an issue on the exit of turn 2, getting around the 53 and 8 cars of Briscoe and Reddick. Onto the front straightaway. Oh, and farther back, we actually had the 57 car of Larson get up into the outside wall. But now down the front stretch and entering turn number 1, Clinton Boyer is going to take up second, trying to run down the 24 car of William Byron. 2 car of Matt DiBenedetto has made his way up into 4th, trying to go 2 in a row after scoring the Brickyard 400 victory last week. Kyle Busch down on the inside, the 26 car of Ankrum, hoping to take up 5th position. And there's the lap car of Alex Bowman right up in front of the race leaders. It forces the 55 of Chastain to back off, but it actually allowed Clinton Boyer to close the gap right up to the back bumper of the 24. Now looks up to the outside. Side drafts the 24 car down the racetrack. Entering turn number 3, Boyer backs off just a little bit from the 24 car as we now have a battle for third position with Matt DiBenedetto down on the inside. Currently, the 24 car of Byron still out front. He's doing a great job at keeping that 24 car in clean air. 2 of Matt DiBenedetto up in the third position right now. 2 Fords could potentially gang up on the 24 car of Byron. And the 55 car of Chastain went wide through turns 3 and 4, let the 18 car of Kyle Busch to his inside as Busch takes up 4th position. Farther back, the number 33 car of Jan Magnussen has actually just taken up 11th position by getting around Landon Castle. Magnussen finished in 3rd position last week in the Brickyard 400, racing his way up into 28th position in the regular season standings, which is why he is once again locked into the playoffs, and he's trying to keep that momentum going. 3-man race out front with a 3-car draft between the 24, 14, and 2. You really have to wonder who's going to be the first one to try and set up a move. Here comes Boyer down to the inside through turns 3 and 4, but can't quite do it as the 24 car of Byron takes his line away on the exit of the corner. Here comes the 18 car of Kyle Busch, closing the gap right up to the 2 car of Matt DiBenedetto. Now looking down to the inside, Kyle Busch takes up 3rd position with now a Penske battle for 4th with Blaney getting the spot. William Byron still out front as there is lap traffic up in front of the race leaders, about half a straightaway ahead. It is Newman, Balicki, and LaJoie all running in a group. Here comes the 12 of Ryan Blaney to the inside, the 18 car of Kyle Busch. Blaney now takes up the 3rd position, running down the 14 car of Boyer for 2nd. Entering turn number 1. Here comes Blaney down on the inside. He backs off just a little bit, but that was actually him backing up the corner. He's going to have the run on the exit. Side by side as Ryan Blaney is going to take up 2nd position down into turn number 3. How about this? Kyle Larson, who's on fresher tires than the rest of the front runners. He has just raced his way up into 7th, quickly carving his way through the field. Now to the inside, the 2. At the start-finish line that time by, Larson has made his way up into 4th position. Now to the inside of Boyer taking up 3rd. It's going to be hard for these front runners to hold off Larson on those fresher tires. Ryan Blaney has closed the gap right up to the back bumper of the 24 car of Byron, but I'm not sure if it's even going to matter, because here comes the 57 with an incredible head of steam, jumps up to the outside, in fact actually overdrives the entry to the corner. Larson loses track position by getting up into the marbles entering turn number 1. And so that takes some of the heat off of the 24 and 12 cars of Byron and Blaney. And they will at least be allowed to duke it out for the top spot for a couple more laps until Larson can clear off those tires of debris. And here comes the 12 of Blaney to the inside, the 24 for the top spot. Ryan Blaney is now your leader here at Kansas. He won the regular season championship last season and multiple race victories, but so far this year, he sets outside the top 20 in the point standings, searching for his first win of the 2021 season, as Eric Jones has just made his way up into third position. 55 car of Ross Chastain now takes up fourth, with Larson getting around the 18 car of Kyle Busch. There's the lap traffic right up in front of race leader Ryan Blaney. Blaney has to try and make a move, but it looks like he's going to get boxed in behind the 6 and 7, opening up the door for the 24 of Byron to go 3 wide to the inside. William Byron, using lap traffic, has just taken the race lead once again, as the 57 car of Larson goes 3 wide to the inside of the 12 and 6. The field fanning out to get around the lap traffic. 4 wide entering turn number 1. Here comes Buescher. Buescher used some of the apron to get down into the corner. And this has allowed Clint Bowyer to make his way back up into 4th position by dodging the lap traffic and those slowing down for them. There's the 48 and 71 cars that the leaders have to get around. Larson once again gets boxed in. Larson almost runs it up into the outside wall right there on the exit of turn number 4. 4 wide once again as the 33 car of Magnussen tries to send it into the corner very deep. They somehow keep it going. No one has been involved in an accident from these lap traffic yet. A little bit of contact between the 7 and 55 cars, but no harm there. As down the back straightaway, they still keep it together. And look at this. Chris Buescher, who now resides in 2nd position, has started to run down the 24 car of William Byron. The gap of the stripe that time by was just 0.3 of a second. But here comes Bowyer back down to the inside, taking up 2nd position once again. And now Bowyer's being hounded by the 12 of Blaney, with the 88 car of Keselowski getting up into the mix, currently running in 5th position. Farther back, the field is just trying to get back in the line after having to dodge all the lap traffic. And Jan Magnussen has actually raced his way up into 7th position. And the caution flag is out here at Kansas. On lap number 87, the yellow flag waves with the 24 car of William Byron out front, above the 14 of Clint Bowyer, 12 of Ryan Blaney, 88 of Keselowski, and 17 of Chris Buescher. And so we knew with all the lap traffic, they couldn't keep it clean forever. Ryan Newman gets forced up into the marbles by the lap car of Corey LaJoie. That allows the 55 car of Chastain to close right up to the inside, makes contact with the 6 car of Newman, turns Newman down into the 00 of Suarez and 19 of Martin Truex Jr. Suarez getting spun around down the back straightaway and trying to catch it as the 19 car of Truex makes pretty significant driver's side contact with the inside wall. Then Newman tries to save his corner entry down on the apron, gets into the grass, and at this point he's more or less sliding out of control. Back up into traffic, makes contact with the 11 car of Denny Hamlin, the 3 of Austin Dillon, and the 71 of Josh Blicky, all hard up into the outside wall. Then they slide down the banking with oncoming traffic as the 3 car of Austin Dillon gets hit by the 2 of Matt Benedetto, knocking the 3 car out of the race. Then the 41 of Cole Custer gets involved into this. The 2 of DiBenedetto up into the 71 of Bilicki. Then the 89 has absolutely nowhere to go and plows into the mess with a big impact. And then here comes Suarez once again involved in the mess, getting in to the 89 car of Landon Castle. Martin Truex Jr., after sliding down the back straightaway and getting into the inside wall, was, believe it or not, the least damaged car in that accident. And so now William Byron leads the entire lead lap field onto pit road on lap 87. And how about this? Ryan Blaney gets off pit road with the race lead above the number 88 car of Brad Keselowski, the 22 of Joey Logano, and the 24 car of William Byron, losing a full 3 spots in the pits. And then the 5th place runner is now Chris Buescher in the 17 car for Roush Fenway Racing. The 14 of Clint Bowyer lost quite a bit of track position on pit road. And the full list of cars out of the race after that accident include Matt DiBenedetto, Austin Dillon, Josh Bilicki, and Landon Castle. Believe it or not, the number 6 car of Ryan Newman is still in the race after suffering 2 very major accidents. Pace car hits pit road. Ryan Blaney leads the field into the restart zone on lap number 90 for yet another single file restart. And there's the green flag. Blaney gets the jump above the 88 car of Brad Keselowski. 24 car of William Byron trying to get around the 22 of Joey Logano. Now jumps up to the outside as Logano goes to the bottom of the 88 car of Keselowski on the exit of turn number 2. Former teammates battling side by side for second, as it looks like Keselowski's going to hold it through turns 3 and 4. 22 car of Logano checking up just a little bit through 3 and 4, getting freight trained up on the outside as Byron takes up 3rd position. That 22 car is dropping back rather quickly. You have to wonder if potentially something's going wrong, as a 55 car entered turn number 1 with his left sides on the apron, running extremely shallow into the corner. 88 and 24 cars battle side by side for second, with William Byron now taking up 2nd position. Tyler Ankrum has taken up 4th, with Magnussen in 5th. Here comes the 26 of Ankrum to the inside the 88, as Tyler Ankrum now takes up 3rd position. Magnussen into 4th, as the 50 of Kaz Grala currently resides in 7th position. Good run going on so far for the rookie, as here comes Byron to the inside of Ryan Blaney. And William Byron takes up the top spot once again. He's got an incredibly fast car once he gets out front. 26 of Ankrum now taking up 2nd, with Magnussen into 3rd, the position that he finished in last week at Indy. Here comes the 33 car back to the inside of the 26 car of Ankrum. 17 pushing the 26 down the back straightaway. Magnussen going to try and send it into turn number 3, and Jan Magnussen now moves up into 2nd position. Almost contact right there between the 17 and 26, as Buescher has to back off on the exit of turn number 4. Down to turn 1, Kaz Grala runs just a little bit wide on the entry to the corner. Looked like he was trying to move the 26 car up the racetrack, as the 14 car of Bowyer gets to the inside of Kaz Grala down the back straightaway, trying to pressure his way up into 3rd position. Can't quite do it. The 14's just a little bit better than the 50 right now, and might be William Byron's greatest challenger. And so now Clint Bowyer has gotten around the 50 car of Kaz Grala for 3rd position, with Bowyer getting some drafting help from the 55 car of Ross Chastain. But here comes Chastain to the 14 cars inside. Side by side down the front straightaway, and it looks like Chastain's going to have the preferred line into turn 1. Ross Chastain now up into 3rd position. Bowyer got forced wide by the 50 and 37 cars of Eric Jones and Kaz Grala. As you recall, back in 2019, William Byron had the fall race here at Kansas, all but one. Was the race leader under the caution flag, but ran out of gas, allowing Quinn Houff to take home what is so far his first and only Cup Series victory. But now Byron seeking redemption here at Kansas with obviously the fastest car, and has currently led the most laps of anyone in today's event. He's got a long way to go, with currently the 33 and 55 cars closing in. There's a lap car of Anthony Alfredo right up in front of the 24 car. He gets to the inside cleanly, but Magnussen gets stuck in line behind Alfredo. That allows Chastain to take up 2nd. Magnussen now dropping outside the top 5 after getting stuck in line behind the Sonoma race winner. The next 2 lap cars that will be up in front of William Byron are the 48 of Bowman, which is his teammate, and the 6 of Ryan Newman, who is notorious for being difficult to pass, so I'm not so sure how much I'd want him as a lap car up in front of me. Here comes the 17 car of Buescher, almost running onto the apron, entering turn number 1 to get around both Larson and Magnussen. A little bit of contact right there as well between Larson and Ankrum. Entering turn number 3, here comes the 50 car of Kaz Grala to the inside of the 55 of Ross Chastain. Grala up into second, and that's going to let Clint Bowyer take up third position with Reddick now into fifth. Kyle Busch also closing the gap. He is your defending champion, seeking his second win of the 2021 season, trying to get his year back on track as the 50 goes to the inside, the 24. Kaz Grala takes away the race lead from the 24 car of William Byron. Clint Bowyer now up into second position. There's the lap traffic of both Newman and Bowman. Look at Bowyer enter turn number 1 almost onto the apron. Tried to get down to the inside the 50 of Grala, but couldn't quite do it. Now down the back straightaway, the 14 car losing a little bit of ground off the 50 of Kaz Grala. Bowyer currently within an RCR sandwich right now, as the 55 car of Ross Chastain is now taken up the third position off the 8 car of Reddick. The fastest lap in the race so far has been set by the 14 car of Clint Bowyer, and Bowyer now has to run down the 50 of Kaz Grala to take up the top spot as we approach just 30 laps to go here at Kansas. We have had big trouble in turn number 1. The caution flag waves once again. Racing back to the stripe, the 14 is all over the 50 but couldn't do anything with him as Kaz Grala leads the field back to the caution flag above the 14 car of Clint Bowyer, then the 55 of Chastain, 18 of Kyle Busch, and then the 17 of Chris Buescher. And look at this, we have had a tremendous amount of competitive cars knocked out in this one. The 26 car of Ankrum clips the 48 car of Bowman, the lapper down the front straightaway, turning Bowman down to the inside. He almost catches it, but slides right up in front of the front end of the 26. Getting turned up into the 24 car of Byron, the 6 of Newman, the 88 of Keselowski. The 4 car of Harvick just barely gets into it. The 33 of Magnussen has nowhere to go and plows right into the mess. 38 car of Alfredo fortunately misses it. But a very unfortunate story for especially the 24 car of Byron. Had one of the fastest cars here, led the most laps, but almost certainly will not take home the victory here at Kansas. And also a big points hit for the 33 team of Jan Magnussen, who is racing for that top 30 transfer spot into the playoffs. This was actually a fairly hard hit up into the outside wall as well for the 26 car of Ankrum. He had a great run going, leading several laps, but his day gets cut short as well. The 88 car of Brad Keselowski, however, actually managed to get through the accident with just a little bit of rear-end damage, and it might just be cosmetic. So how about this story? Kevin Harvick has trouble, wrecks earlier on in the race, comes all the way back through the field, and currently with less than 30 laps to go here at Kansas, he resides in 11th position. That's the kind of consistency that Kevin Harvick uses to get these large point gaps in the regular season. Harvick, if we did not have a playoff format, would be about a 5-time champion. He's that consistent, and his organization is always able to rebound even in the face of adversity. Pace car hits pit road. Kaz Grala leads the field for yet another single file restart into the restart zone on lap 107 here at Kansas. There's the green flag. 14 car of Bowyer jumps up to the outside. That's going to allow the 55 car of Chastain to potentially set up a move down on the bottom. The field up into 4th gear as now they exit turn number 2. 55 car of Chastain trying to take up second position right now. Battling side by side with the 14 car of Bowyer. Bowyer overdrives turn number 3 and allows Chastain to take up second, with the 18 car of Kyle Busch moving up into 3rd position. Larson going 3 wide down the front straightaway, trying to make his way up into 4th position in the 57 car for LGR. Looks like he has done it. Kaz Grala trying to take home his first career NASCAR Cup Series victory in his rookie season with RCR. But he's not going to do it without a substantial fight from both the defending champion of Kyle Busch and the 55 car of Ross Chastain, who is also searching for his first Cup Series victory. 4 wide farther back as Kevin Harvick backs out, back down to a group of 3 wide racing, as the 14 car of Clint Bowyer is quickly losing track position, now dropping outside of the top 10. Kyle Busch has taken up second position as Larson gets to the inside of the 55 and moves his way up into third spot. Ross Chastain trying to slow the bleeding right now as the 8 car of Reddick gets to his inside. Reddick now to the bottom of the 57. As Eric Jones tries to shoot it through the middle, Tyler Reddick takes up the third position for RCR. Once again, we have 2 RCR cars in the top 3, but look at this gap that the 50 and 18 cars have put on the rest of the field. It looks like it might be just a 2-car race to the finish, as the 37 of Eric Jones has now taken up 4th. Ryan Blaney trying to go into 5th. The 18 car of Kyle Busch is trying extremely hard to close the gap right up to the 50. In fact, on the last lap, he pushed a little bit on the exit of turn number 4, scraped the outside wall, and did not lift. Trying his hardest to close right up to the back bumper, but right now the 8 car of Reddick has started to close the gap. Just a half a second separate third from first. But right now, Kyle Busch is all over your race leader, Kaz Grala. Grala, as a rookie, holding off the defending champion. Down into turn number 1, Kyle Busch is still too far back to try and set up a move, trying to back up his entry to the corner. As the 8 car of Reddick still working with that 37 of Eric Jones and closing the gap. Entering turn number 1, the 18 car of Kyle Busch is within just 1 car length of the 50 of Kaz Grala. Right up in front of Grala is lap traffic, including Bowman and Newman. Here comes the 48 car. Grala jumps up to the outside, as well as the 18 car now cuts down to the bottom. To get around the 6 of Newman, Kyle Busch has to back off behind the 6 car of Ryan Newman. Grala timed the lap car perfectly as Reddick now moves up into second position. Tyler Reddick makes it an RCR 1-2. Remember that a Childress car won the pole. That was Austin Dillon. Unfortunately, he is no longer in contention, but RCR is showing exceptional speed here at Kansas Speedway. One of their engines, however, earlier in the race blew up. That was the 43 car of Myatt Snyder. The gap from first to second right. Oh, we have a crash in turn number 1. Once again, I believe it may have involved the 53 car of Briscoe. So we are now set up for at least one more restart as we have a battle for second position. Busch to the inside of Reddick, but it's not going to be enough as Kaz Grala leads the field back to the caution flag as your race leader. Above Tyler Reddick, then Kyle Busch, the 37 of Eric Jones, and the 12 of Ryan Blaney. A late race caution guaranteed to make the action just a little bit more intense, as if it hasn't already been intense enough. The crash did in fact involve the 53 car of Briscoe. He's getting slowed up by the slow car of Bowman. Tries to look down to the inside, gets hit by the 23 car of Bubba Wallace, and turned around on the entry to turn number 1, up into the 96 car of Drew Herring. Herring with a pretty hard hit up into the outside wall, and then the 88 car of Keselowski gets some right side damage from this as well. So a 3-car accident, bringing out a late race caution here at Kansas. Oh, and by the way, folks, look at who runs in 7th position. It's Kevin Harvick. You just cannot stop this number 4 team from bringing home a tremendous amount of points. In fact, it looked like after Harvick got up into the outside wall, it would be another great day for Denny Hamlin to try and make up the deficit that happened after Indy, where Hamlin finished dead last and Harvick finished in 6th. Well, Hamlin also got involved in trouble and currently resides in 19th position. So once again, Harvick, at this rate, is going to exit Kansas with an even greater point lead. Pace car hits pit road. Kaz Grala leads the field into the restart zone with just 13 laps to go here at Kansas. And there's the green flag. 8 car of Reddick gets the jump on the restart. Tries to look up to the outside of his teammate Grala entering turn number 1. Really forces it in on the top and can't quite do anything with it as the 12 car of Blaney makes up time down on the inside. Down the back straightaway, Blaney trying to get to the bottom of the 18 car of Kyle Busch. Looks like he's going to take up third position. Here comes Bowyer, going 3 wide down on the bottom of both Larson and Eric Jones. Gralla out front trying to hold off his teammate Tyler Reddick, as here comes the 55 car of Chastain almost onto the apron, entering turn number 1. Bowyer still trying to get around Larson, and this time now Kyle Busch, as Busch has dropped back with Blaney taking up third. 8 car of Reddick closing right up to the back bumper of the 50. Had to back off just a little bit right there on the exit of turn number 4, as Clint Bowyer has now taken up the 5th position. Bowyer down to the inside. Getting around the 57 car of Larson, taking up 4th. And now has his sights set on the 12 car of Ryan Blaney. Out front, the 50 of Kaz Gralla has put a couple car length separation on the 8 car of Reddick. How about this, the 21 of Austin Cindric. After qualifying in 2nd position, he has finally raced his way back up into the top 10 after having trouble all day, even getting involved in a near crash on pit road with Tyler Ankrum. Down the back straightaway with now just 10 laps to go. The gap between 1st and 2nd is almost 3/10, separating Kaz Gralla from Tyler Reddick. Reddick still losing a little bit of time as the 14 car of Bowyer possibly overdrove turn number 4 right there, and he's letting Ross Chastain to his inside. Down to turn number 1. Looks like Chastain is going to take up the 4th position, with Bowyer now starting to drop back once again. Believe it or not, lap traffic is likely to still be a factor in the finish of this race, as half a straightaway in front of race leader Kaz Gralla is the 48 of Alex Bowman. Behind the 50 is still the 8 car of Reddick, who is now just 0.24 seconds behind the 50. And Ross Chastain has just taken up 3rd. He is now one of the fastest cars on the track, carving his way through the field, as the 18 car of Kyle Busch has now re-cleared the 12 of Ryan Blaney. A 3-car race for the lead out front. This time at the start-finish line, Reddick has closed the gap by just 3/100ths of a second. That still means that he's not going to get to the 50 before the checkered flag, but here comes the 55 of Ross Chastain, closing right up to the back bumper of Tyler Reddick. And the lap car of Alex Bowman right in front of the 50 car of Kaz Gralla. Gralla's going to have to figure out a way around him on the front straightaway, gets down to the inside. Reddick just barely gets slowed up by the 48 car, but for the most part, the field gets around Alex Bowman cleanly. Now it's a 5-car race for the race lead. Gralla all the way back to Chris Buescher have a shot at it. This time at the start-finish line, just 5 laps to go here at Kansas. The gap between 1st and 2nd has been extended out once again to 1/4 of a second, separating the 50 from the 8. Here comes Ross Chastain right up to the back bumper of the 8. Chastain's going to have to figure out a way around Reddick to have a shot at the 50 car of Gralla. Yet another lap car in front of race leader Kaz Gralla. This time it's the kidney stone himself of Ryan Newman. Newman enters turn 1, and just a couple seconds later, the 50 car of Gralla enters the first turn as well, so they'll be getting to him on this lap, as the 55 of Chastain still has not been able to get around the 8 car of Reddick. Reddick doing his best to try and hold off that number 55. Gralla gets slowed up on the entry to the corner by the 6 car of Newman, opening up the door for the 55 of Chastain down on the inside, but Chastain also gets boxed in. Gralla gets away with the spot, 5 wide for 2nd. An incredible move, as now Chris Buescher sends it in for 2nd position and takes up the spot. An incredible turn of events, as Kaz Gralla now has an almost 1 second lead above the 2nd place runner of Chris Buescher. With now just 2 laps to go at the start-finish line, it looks like all Kaz Gralla has to do is run consistent laps, and he will have this victory locked up. The separation is currently 0.6 of a second, as Ross Chastain down on the inside will be taking up the 2nd position. Chastain going for 2nd spot down into turn number 3. He's going to take the position with the 14 car of Clint Bowyer trying to take up third. Now just 1 lap to go here at Kansas. The gap between first and second has been closed down to just 0.3 separating the 50 from the 55 car. Chastain has just 1 more set of corners to navigate to try and run down the 50 of Kaz Grala, and Grala just has to run a consistent line. Here comes Bowyer to the inside of the 55. And out of turn number 4, Kaz Grala in his rookie season in the 50 car for Richard Childress Racing wins the Bushy McBush Race 400 at Kansas Speedway. An incredible performance for the number 50 team out of Richard Childress Racing, scoring the victory here at Kansas in nearly dominating fashion once the 24 car of Byron dropped out. And how about this? Kaz Grala takes home the victory in his rookie season in the number 50 car, becoming yet another unique winner on the 2021 season. Ross Chastain had a shot at it there at the end, but just did not have enough laps to try and get around the 50 car of Grala. But Chastain was coming. And how about Clint Bowyer, home state hero, coming home in 3rd position in what may be his final start in the Cup Series at his home track of Kansas Speedway. Then Kyle Busch brings the 18 car home in 4th position. Tyler Reddick in 5th, Kyle Larson 6th, Chris Buescher in 7th, Eric Jones in 8th position, Austin Cindric in 9th, and Ryan Blaney rounding out your top 10. Also, the 4 car of Kevin Harvick rebounded all the way to a 12th place finish. In your regular season point standings following the race here at Kansas, Kevin Harvick still sits atop the point standings by now 26 points above Joey Logano, who has moved up to 2nd in the standings, surpassing Denny Hamlin. Hamlin falls down to 3rd in points, 29 points out of the lead. Matt DiBenedetto stays in 4th, 56 points out. Suarez moves up to 5th, 60 points out of the lead. Kyle Larson picks up another 4 spots in the point standings up to 6th, 61 points out of the point lead. Then Brandon Jones picks up 2 in the 20 car for Joe Gibbs, 67 points out of the point lead. He is tied with his teammate Martin Truex Jr. for position in the standings. Brandon Jones gets the tiebreaker with an additional win. Chase Elliott drops down 4 spots in points, down to 9th, 69 points out of the point lead, and then Tyler Reddick rounds out the top 10, picking up 3 spots in standings after Kansas, 70 points out of the point lead. In your playoff standings, Kevin Harvick, Brandon Jones, Chase Briscoe, Denny Hamlin, DiBenedetto, Suarez, Larson, Truex Jr., Elliott, Kyle Busch, Kaz Grala, and Jan Magnussen are all currently locked into the playoffs via their wins. We're running out of time to try and get in through points because it looks like by the end of this regular season, we are going to have 16 different winners locked in, like we had last season. Because currently we have 15 different winners who are full-time. 3 of them, however, are outside of the top 30. Jan Magnussen is only 29th in the point standings right now, just 1 spot out of dropping below the playoff eligible positions in the regular season points. So it's going to be a tight battle as we inch ever closer to the regular season championship race out at Daytona, with Joey Logano the best of the rest without a win so far this season, 57 points above the cutoff line. He's 2nd in regular season point standings, but because he does not have a win yet on the year in the playoff standings, he is 13th. That's the difference that not scoring a win can make on your season. Tyler Reddick sets 13 points above the cutoff line, as well as Alex Bowman. Eric Jones sets just 12 points above the cutoff line. Then Brad Keselowski, the 2012 Series titleist, sets 12 points out. Clint Bowyer, after his 3rd place finish, now sets 22 points out of making the playoffs. Kurt Busch, with his DNQ here at Kansas, is now 38 points out. And Justin Allgaier is 49 points out. So the Ganassi teammates of Kurt Busch and Justin Allgaier are getting in to must-win territory. And so, folks, we hope that you have enjoyed our telecast here from Kansas Speedway of the Bushy McBush Race 400. The next time you'll be seeing us will be on Post Tech when we go over all the action here at Kansas Speedway over the Camping World Truck Series race and NASCAR Cup Series events. And we will also be giving the race recap of the ISM Connect 250 from the Loudon Road course out at New Hampshire Motor Speedway. And so now we congratulate Kaz Grala on his first NASCAR Cup Series victory with Richard Childress Racing here at Kansas.